All right, we have Tyson Nam joining us right now. He had his first UFC win this past weekend, his first finish, first performance bonus. Basically, he went full Naminal in his first round knockout win at UFC on ESPN 10. Tyson, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a nice sunny day out here in Hawaii, so it's going to be a beautiful day.
There you go. Congratulations on the win. First off, just kind of going based off social media, there were a lot of people on Saturday night after that finish. I don't know if surprised is the right word that you finished that fight the way that you did. I don't know if they only knew you from just signing with the UFC, but to quote the great LL Cool J, Tyson, don't call it a comeback. You've been doing this for years. This is vintage Tyson Nam on Saturday night, was it not?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of casuals out over there. The real fans. I mean, I've been doing this to world contender since 2012, starting off with Eduardo Dantes. So it's been if you look at my record, more than half of my fights that I win by a KO or TKO. So it ain't nothing new.
Yeah, we've been talking multiple times since you signed with the UFC, and one of the things that you wanted to prove to everybody was these guys hit hard, but I hit harder, and you finally got to show that off on Saturday night. Was that just such a cool feeling to kind of see those words come to life?
Yeah, it was definitely a real good feeling just because I've always done it internationally, but I've just never been able to do it for over here in the U.S. televised fans for them to see.
I want to go back to the fight week itself because you were supposed to fight Ryan Benoit at that event. And on Wednesday, I ended up seeing a tweet from Tim Elliott that morning that said that he had accepted a fight for this card, but the commission wouldn't clear him because he was medically suspended from the Brandon Royval fight. And then we found out a few hours later that Benoit is out of the fight, and the UFC was bringing on Adeshev on super short notice. When were you aware that Ryan was out, and how did you react to that?
Well, we were leaving for Vegas on Monday evening in Hawaii, and literally when we got to LA for our layover, they said my manager told me that Ryan's out and they're looking for a last minute replacement. So a little bit of stress on the way over, but it kind of worked out for the best, I guess.
It seemed like everybody was confident though that they'd find a replacement quickly and you'd still be able to compete.
Yeah, because you get a call 1 day notice, 1 hour notice. Who doesn't want to fight in the UFC? So when that moment arises, you gotta say yes to anything.
When the fight was announced, most people out there had no idea who Zaruk was. He only had 4 pro MMA fights. Obviously, he's got the extensive kickboxing background, but did you have any idea who he was?
I did not. I do not follow the Glory and K1 kickboxing just because mixed martial arts in general. It's already so much that I can't even watch all the fights over here on top of this side, let alone watching kickboxing on top of that side. But just knowing that, he only had 4 MMA matches, but he is a very good striker in the K1 Glory kickboxing scene. So had to mentally prepare myself for a lot of punches and kicks, but it only takes one.
Yeah, as you proved. How did it feel fighting at 35? I thought you had a quote unquote bantamweight fight last year, but kind of going through, I thought it was at 130 instead of 135. But I think it was 5 or so years ago since you fought at 135. Must have been nice not having to cut that extra 10 pounds. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was definitely nice in that sense, but I always would like to weigh a little bit more closer what my opponent is weighing than, being undersized. I think that's just a mental thing in general. But the entire week I was actually trying to eat food, trying to put on a couple of pounds so I could cut a little bit of weight. But my metabolism was just running so high, just redlining so high that I wasn't even my body wouldn't hold on to any weight. But so it was definitely good.
Did you have to cut anything at all?
Yeah, to like 1 or 2 pounds the morning of. So, I was sitting real pretty at the weigh-ins.
There you go. It seems like you knew what his game plan was going to be right off the bat. You were more than down to oblige that. And good Lord, that counter right hand that landed. What did that feel like? What's going on in your mind when that shot lands?
I just felt my right hand land, and I was like, "Ooh, that feels kind of good." I bet if he's not out, he is definitely hurt when I connected on top of that. That was truly one of the hardest shots I've hit an opponent with. And I think the second shot was probably harder than the first shot, if I'm not mistaken. And that first shot was kind of hard. So, man, pow, pow.
I was going to ask, like, which shot you thought was more devastating, but I thought the first one, like, I thought he was out on his feet, and then when he hit the canvas, it like woke him up, and then the second shot knocked him out again, but I wasn't in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, off of the first shot, he fell down, and if I see any form of movement in you, you know I'm coming in with a second or third one if need be. But yeah, I seen him move a little bit, so I had to seal the deal and hit him with it again.
How'd it feel getting that bonus?
It felt good. It felt good. You know, not used to people paying me this much money to punch people, but it definitely does help out, especially during these times when everyone's pretty much jobless.
You said after the fight that you felt like you were fighting for your job on Saturday night, and maybe that was the case. I don't think anybody really knows, but you know, there's certainly precedent for that. Losing 3 in a row never really looks fondly upon the UFC. But prior to the booking with Ryan Benoit, what were those few months like after the Kai Kara-France fight? Like, if your phone rang after that fight, did your stomach sort of fill with butterflies in a way? Because perhaps maybe it would be your manager on the other line saying, "Hey, Tyson, they decided to go a different direction." Was that like a nerve-wracking time for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, already from I fought Kai on Saturday, and already on top of Monday, I was kind of bugging my managers like, "Hey, am I going to get cut? I would much rather just know now than maybe like next week, or you keep on pushing it. Just tell me that, you know, just put me out of my misery." Even though, you know, we did have a very exciting battle. If Felder and Hooker wasn't getting that fight of the night bonus, we definitely were right there in the runnings for it. But any which way, exciting fight or not, I mean, two losses in a row never sits in my stomach too well. How
relieved were you when you got a contract to fight?
Yeah, it was like a blessing in disguise. Wow, you know, maybe the third time's a charm, and with the pandemic and everything, I was able to, for the first time in my mixed martial arts career, train full time and be overly prepared for my third fight in the UFC.
Wait, so you weren't training full time before that?
No, I've always had a job ever since I started this thing. I've always had something. Either I was going to school, I had a job. It was never just I wake up, I train, you know, I rest, I train. I always had to go to a job in between or afterwards.
What was the last job you worked?
I'm currently still working for the UFC gym out here in Hawaii. So I do UFC during the day, I do UFC at night. I'm living it all day, every day.
So you're still there now, or did you give a notice? I mean, it's obviously kind of, I mean, you could still sort of train there. So, I mean, it kind of goes tenfold in a way, but are you still there?
Technically, yes, but technically we're laid off. I know that the gyms will be opening the end of this week. So even if I do go back, I will definitely try to keep a real low amount of hours, just because I know what it takes now to put my heart and soul in this thing, especially on my last leg here on out.
So you feel like you're all in now?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always been all in.
Right.
It's just, you know, it's expensive living here in Hawaii. You gotta have like almost 2 jobs and another side gig to put food on top of the table. You know, it's the price you pay for living in paradise.
After seeing how you promote Manscaped, I think these sponsors should be hitting you up like crazy right now.
They better hit me up on Instagram. I got content for you guys.
You must have felt so much weight coming off your shoulders on Saturday night when you landed those 2 shots, right?
It was a lot. It was a lot. Just a long time in the making. Just a lot of naysayers, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of almost would be, could be. I just couldn't live with myself, you know, knowing that all the great things that I've done in my career was just never in the greatest promotion in mixed martial arts, which would be the UFC.
So you want to head to Fight Island, at least that's what you said on Saturday. You want to keep this train moving. And, there were some interesting comments said about you on Saturday night from another winner on the card, Jordan Espinosa. He said that he wants to fight you next, and that some time ago there was an offer on the table to put a fight between you and Jordan together, and he said you turned it down. So is there any truth to that? What happened from your perspective?
I believe that was the first time that Ryan we had to push the date back from the fight. That's what that was. I guess there was trying to see if there would be somebody else in alignment, but the plan was always to stay with Ryan. It just kept on getting pushed back, and that's what that was, on top of fighting, or if he was offered the fight or not. But Fight Island, or even waiting for my time to come back here to Vegas. I mean, sooner the better. I pretty much came out injury free, bruise free. I'm good to go right now, actually.
Espinosa seemed like a good matchup right now. I mean, he's coming off a win. You're coming off a win. Both of you, snapped some losing streaks in the process. I thought both of you had the best performances of your UFC run to this point. Sounds like a pretty good matchup to me. Where's your head at when it comes to who's next for you?
Well, when I was looking at things, I was always looking at the rankings, and starting from my way from the top down was Matt Schnell. So I was thinking, why does he want to fight another unranked fighter? Doesn't he want to move up in his career? So I'm always trying to look a little bit bigger in the picture. You can't call somebody off when you win decisions. You got to have finishes, call people out as you do. So, for myself, I got the biggest finish that night. I'm the one that's calling people out right now.
Matt Schnell, I like that fight. Why Matt Schnell? Is it just a rankings thing, or do you just like the matchup too from a stylistic perspective?
It was definitely the rankings thing, and when I was looking through the rankings, it looked like he was without a dance partner these next few months. So figured number 10, he's available. He's probably training. Let's put this thing together.
I like that matchup. That's a fun fight. What are you going to do with the 50 Gs? That's a lot of cheddar right there for less than a minute of work on Saturday night. Like, I know a lot went into this camp and you put a ton of time into it, so I'm not underselling that in any way, but you know what I mean. What are we going to do with the extra cheddar?
There's nothing I can do right now. We're still in quarantine and lockdown here in Hawaii. I can't even. The only thing I can do is probably look online and buy something off of Amazon if I wanted to. But, usually, you want to go out, have a nice dinner or something fancy. I can't even do that right now. I'm stuck here at home, just running around the block and lifting some weights that I got here until we're good and free and clear to go.
There you go, man. Incredible performance, Tyson. Well done. Congratulations on the win. Hopefully you get your wish, get right back in there, keep this momentum train moving. Congratulations once again. And thank you for the time as always, man. Great catching up with you.